Hello folks, I have a channel update for you along with some news about our regular show, Night Tales, and the answers to a few questions I get asked quite a lot. So stay where you are, and I'll be right back. Welcome back to Night's Arcade, everyone. I'm Sleepless Night, and today I'm doing something a little different, and I'll explain why in a moment. Now, before we start, the reason this video is so long is because the second half deals with questions I get asked so often that I simply don't have the time to write out long-winded responses, so I decide it might save me and you a little time if I could direct those most often asked questions to certain time points in this video. If you don't want to hear me rant at the end, you should check out at a point I will indicate about halfway through. So, a few days ago, having noticed that both my PC and Xbox external hard drives were full, I did a little clutter clearing, and it's whole boring deleting things because I had accidentally called them other things story, but the short version is the footage and artwork for Night Tales is now gone. But even though I was initially very upset about this, it's actually given me the nudge I needed to rearrange some things I wasn't entirely happy with, the first being that I seem to have inadvertently recreated DuckTales. So, now that that's in the bin, Night Tales is getting a new name and a new look. I don't think we're going to start it again now until Fallout 76, but you can rest assured that it will start again soon with one game or another. Kuzuri-san and myself absolutely love making that show because it's basically just a compilation of us playing with an attempt at shaping those clips into some kind of narrative after the fact. But we have so much fun recording and we love talking to you guys in the live chat when they premiere. Frankly, I don't think I could stop making stuff like that if I tried, so we'll keep going. But we need a new name for it, and one we will keep from this point on. So we'll let you know what that is as soon as we've got it all fleshed out. The other reason this accidental deletion is good news is that We Happy Few is going on much longer than I was led to believe that it would, and I'm quickly running out of time to complete the playthrough since I want to get it done by the time Red Dead Redemption 2 arrives on October 26th. So you might get an extra playthrough episode or two until that is complete. If I don't manage to complete it before RDR2 releases, who knows? I'll cross that bridge if and when I come to it. In other news, we recently passed 8,000 subscribers, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all you guys for getting me here. I couldn't have done it without you, obviously, and I want to give a special shout out to some of my regular commenters. So thanks to Lone Wolf, thanks to this person whose name I can never pronounce, so I'll just put it on the screen as usual. Thanks to SMH, to Mike Bronner, and to a couple of new followers but regular commenters, Dark Revelations and Dare to Game. Now Nico, over at Dare to Game, does an awful lot of Kingdom Come Deliverance stuff himself, and he has recently done his own review of Kingdom Come Deliverance, so you might want to go over and check that out if you want to see a lot more KCD stuff. Also, to those people who are always saying to me, how on earth can you have ever managed 500 plus hours in Kingdom Come Deliverance? Go over and check out Nico's review. Let's just say, after seeing how many hours he's put in, you'll probably stop badgering me about 500 plus, so hop over there and check it out. There are a lot of you, but those are the ones I notice most often in the comments, and the ones who constantly comment and ask questions. Thanks also to Shikanta, who does Shikanta Plays from time to time here on Night's Arcade, and is hoping to get Mobile Monday rolling at some point in the future, but we all have lives, so you know that'll come when it comes. And to Merlin, whose voice you may occasionally hear on the channel, but the idea of actually being on the channel doesn't appeal to Merlin very much. He likes to be the tech guy behind the scenes, but he and Shikanta have been good friends of mine since long before Night's Arcade, and it's always a pleasure to have them around. I also want to say a huge thanks to my Twitter family who have given me so much support so far and continue to be encouraging. These are people whose channels all started at more or less the same time as mine and have become good friends and occasional collaborators over the course of 2018. So thanks to Roxy at Sexy Biscuit. She is hilarious. I'm sure you all know who she is, but check out her channel if you haven't already. Thanks to HOS Gaming, who is still experimenting with his channel at the moment because, like the rest of us, life gets in the way, but he does a lot of Kingdom Come Deliverance stuff also, so all you KCD fans should check out his videos. And of course, my good friend and regular collaborator, Kuzuri-san, who has become a genuinely close friend and who I hope to continue collaborations with far into the future. His channel is just in its experimental stages at the moment, but he's working in the background trying to learn his new craft so that he can deliver high-quality videos when his channel becomes more active. So I strongly recommend you subscribe so that when more content comes in, you'll know about it. He is honestly one of the funniest human beings I know, so I can't wait to see what happens in the future of his channel. Now, if you're not interested in the answers I'm going to give to the most frequently asked questions that I get here on the channel, and if you don't want to hear me rant at the end of this video, this is the point to get off. If that's where you're going and you're leaving us now, thanks for joining us for the first half of the video. Check out more of our videos. I hope to see you in the comments section soon. Because, you know, I love it when people comment. Reading your comments is one of my favourite things to do, even though as the channel gets bigger and bigger, I have less and less time to read and respond to more and more comments. And just so you know, I have no problem at all with people who disagree with my point of view, so long as they do it in a grown-up manner. I have, on occasion, had my mind changed by polite, friendly people who have thought their argument through carefully and present it in a calm, well-articulated fashion. But life is short and I just don't have time for toxic trolls, so if you're going to come in here with your caps lock on, hurling abuse and telling us all what we can do to ourselves with various kitchen implements, your comment's going to go in the trash the second I see it. I quite often don't even read to the bottom of those comments, so if that's the way you roll, go ahead, knock yourself out, but just know that the only people who will ever read that comment are those who get to it before I do, so use that time more wisely. When you're lying on your deathbed, you might wish you had those precious wasted minutes back again. Go watch an educational video. Search online for your nearest anger management training. Just make a drink, anything but furiously wearing down your keyboard and your fingers on a pointless tirade that no one is ever going to see. So, all friendly comments and differing points of view I welcome, but there are some questions that I get asked a lot more often than others, so I'm going to answer a couple of those here before leaving you in peace. First, let me give you a sort of general answer about future plans that will hopefully answer a few questions all at once, and I'll get into the more specific ones in a moment. I do have very specific plans for this channel and slightly more general plans for my Sleepless Night channel. So there is a goal, there's a long-term sort of aim, a thing that I'm sort of working towards. And not everything about this channel is set in stone. Some things are more fluid, sort of we'll see, maybe sorts of things. But there are certain landmarks that I have set out and that I need to just think a little more about before I get there, and maybe you can help me with those. The next one coming up is Patreon. Now, I have been asked about Patreon, and I do plan to start a Patreon account once I hit 10,000 subscribers, but I am currently struggling to think what benefits I could offer to patrons that wouldn't interfere too much with my recording schedule, so we'll see. Maybe you have some ideas, leave them in the comments section below. I'm currently using pretty much all the spare time I have for this channel, so it would have to be something that I could offer without too many changes. I am also planning ahead and thinking about doing some merchandise through Teespring at some point in the future, but I think it'll be at least maybe 15,000 subs before I get there, possibly even 20,000, since there isn't much point in making merchandise unless you know there is some sort of demand for it. But if you would be interested in the possibility of stuff like that in future, let me know. When you start listening to yourself playing these games, you realise just how many things that you repeat over and over and over again. So one of the things that I had an idea for was a t-shirt with a Sleepless Night drinking game on it, but you know, I'm not really supposed to encourage stuff like that, so you didn't hear that from me, just pretend I didn't say anything. I know a lot of YouTubers say this, but most of us really mean it. I'm not in this for the money. I just love making YouTube videos and would continue to do it even if no one watched. The proof of that is in the fact that I made videos on YouTube for 11 years that no one was watching. I just love doing it. But be honest with yourself, if you could do this for a living, wouldn't you love to do it? Well, so would I. On to the more specific questions then. Question 1, are you planning on doing any more reviews? Yes, absolutely. There are more reviews coming, but what makes my reviews a little different is that I like to put in the time to give each game a fair shot. I can pretty much guarantee I will not be putting in 500 plus hours before a review again, but I like to put in a fair chunk of time before I give an opinion, so if it's a story game, the very least I will do is to finish the story, as with We Happy Few. If it's not story driven, then I set myself a minimum amount of hours before I permit myself to give an opinion. Because of this, the reviews won't happen all that often, but there should be 4 or 5 a year, I hope, possibly more, but certainly not many more. Next question, what games will you be covering in the future? I get this one a lot, but it's more often worded as a request to do a certain game, so I do usually have an idea of what upcoming games I will cover at least 6 months in advance, but that is subject to change depending on factors like has the release date changed, has a major aspect of the game been revealed, which perhaps puts me off playing it, and can I find the money and or the time to fit it in around the other games I'm covering? That last one is probably the most important one, simply because I will prioritise certain games over others, so I will be covering Red Dead Redemption 2 and Just Cause 4 before the end of January 2019. Where I go from there depends on how much I get done and how much money I have for games following Christmas. I also plan to play Fallout 76, I have pre-ordered it so I'll be there for the beta, but that will depend on how easy it is to play with Kuzuri-san, and if it is, it will be shown here mainly as part of whatever Night Tales ends up being called. Early 2019, I have my eyes on Crackdown 3, but whether or not that will ever get here, your guess is as good as mine. Also, Skull and Bones and Anthem, although Anthem I'm kind of on the fence about, so, maybe not, we'll see. I also have an idea that I'd like to play Generation Zero with my wife here on the channel. The reasons for that being that it takes place in 1980s rural Sweden, which happens to be both the place and the time that she was born. So I think it would be interesting to get her perspective on it, but it's a multiplayer and our schedules don't always work to allow us to do things like that, so once again we'll see what happens. Next question, am I planning on streaming at any point in the future? The short answer to this is yes, but it's not on my radar in the immediate future. Kuzuri-san and I have talked about doing streams at some point in the future, and I have a few ideas of my own for streaming as well, but not just yet. The next 6 to 12 months are really going to be about figuring out what kinds of videos work best for me and for the channel, so I might end up doing quick looks at more games instead of Let's Play series of fewer games. A lot depends on my situation and what I feel the most comfortable with. Next question, do you do early previews of games currently in development? I most often get asked this on the Knights Arcade Facebook page, and the answer is yes and no. I have started getting requests from smaller developers to preview their games currently in development, and it is something I'm interested in, but it depends on the game. I'd love to do these, but currently I'm struggling to see where I would fit them in. I will certainly try. Next question, why don't you get yourself a PC? You know the kind of person that asks this question. It seems to me, not always, but it's most often asked by people with very little understanding of the situations of other people. So the short answer is, I do have a PC. The slightly longer answer is, I cannot afford a PC that plays the latest releases in anything like an acceptable quality. I do plan to get one, but upgrading to a new console every 4 to 5 years is much, much cheaper and easier than upgrading my PC every 2 years in order to get the best out of the big, resource-heavy PC titles. I did used to do PC videos of Elite Dangerous on my other channel, and I hope to do that again, but not right now. So I'm just going to answer this one final thing before leaving you in peace and quiet, and it's one that most often comes as an angry statement rather than an actual question. It usually goes something like this. You suck. I am much better than you at this. You need to get good. Are you going to get better at playing games? I get this question most often from housebound heroes and basement big shots who apparently get their validation from telling people how truly remarkable they are in the comments sections of other people's videos. To those people, I say, good for you. If you genuinely can kill 1,000 rampaging hellbeasts within 30 seconds of turning on a new game using nothing but your dazzling ingenuity, 3 pubic hairs, an unconscious wasp and a broken pencil, go ahead. Better yet, capture it next time and let's all see it. But that is not what this channel is about. I have been playing video games for almost 4 decades now, so I very much doubt that I'm suddenly going to get better at it just because it irks you to watch someone openly displaying their incompetence. And even if I could, making mistakes is funnier. And that is what this channel is about. If you were confused about what this channel is actually about doing, whatever else I do, if I'm not making you laugh from time to time, I'm not doing what I set out to do. Thank you for dropping by and listening once again to my inane rantings. Your support, as ever, is greatly appreciated. Until next time, from Night's Arcade, this is Sleepless Night, saying nighty-night.